Hi, and welcome to the DC Marvel Battlecast, where we discuss all things DC and Marvel related, and we debate who would win in versus battle matchups. I'm Marvelous Joe.
And I'm his twin brother, Johnny DC.
So the song that you just heard was That's My Girl by Fifth Harmony from the album 727, which you can hear on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you buy or stream music.
Yes.
Again, it is on our Spotify playlist, so if you enjoy the songs we play at the beginning, go ahead and search for DC Marvel Battlecast, all one word, on Spotify.
Yeah, we really don't have too many followers still, but that's fine because it's actually like a good work station playlist to listen to. I've started to appreciate some of the music more. Like I remember on the first episode we did what was the name of the song? It was
Super Flabs.
Super Flabs.
I like that song.
But yeah, I think my first impression was I don't hate it. But actually listening to that song, it's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, the lyrics.
Yeah, the lyrics, the first half of the song, the first verse, he names drop a whole bunch of Marvel, and then the second he name drops a whole bunch of DC stuff. So I appreciate it a lot more.
It's really
now,
cool.
Actually, listening to more of it over and over again.
And this song that we just played, That's My Girl,
yeah.
I guess that was used on the DC Superhero Girls TV show or something?
It's a web series.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was used just to promote the series. They also made a movie. You could get a movie on iTunes, I think, based on that series.
Okay.
It was really a series to sell a line of toys because Mattel lost their contract with Disney, so they couldn't make Disney princesses anymore. So they decided to go the superhero route because of their surging popularity in film to sort of pick up that slack.
Okay.
So Mattel won't make Disney princesses or Disney Barbies. They'll be making DC superhero girl Barbies, essentially.
Let's go. You could tell I don't have daughters.
I have two daughters. Yeah.
So,
I'm buying the crap out of DC comic stuff.
Yeah.
DC comic superhero girls. Anyway, back to the pot. I was really embarrassed at work the other day because I was listening to our Spotify playlist and I had forgotten that we had DMX on there. from the Deadpool podcast episode. Yeah. And so the song pops up and it's just what motherfucker? I'm just cracking up.
Nice. It's not a fucking game.
Yeah.
All right. So remember, guys, you can subscribe to us on iTunes or on SoundCloud or on YouTube. Ideally, SoundCloud is the way to listen to us, but if you use your podcast app on your iPhone or something like that, be sure to go ahead and check us out on Instagram as well, so you can check out the cover art that we do for each of these episodes.
Yeah.
And things like that. If you want to reach out to us, again, you can do it on SoundCloud. You could do it via email at dcmarvelbattlecast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at dcmarvelbattle.
Right.
And that's about it. So this week... actually, speaking of letters, someone did reach out to us on Twitter last week, calling us racist.
Yeah.
And it was actually I was surprised. I was like, what is this guy talking about? And so I went back and I just want to make sure everyone knows we are not racist.
We're not racist.
Both Jonathan and I have been victims, or not victims, I would say, kind of victims, but of racism ourselves. We're super sensitive to it. The statement in question was during the Batman vs. Superman review when I stated that I was uncomfortable that the Joe Chill character, the character who killed Batman's parents, appeared to be Arabic.
Arabic, yeah. Which could be an implied... if you're making this villain character Arabic when they're not in the comic, you might be.
It felt like it was perpetuating Islamophobia.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect way to say that.
And that's why I was uncomfortable. I wasn't uncomfortable because there was a Muslim person on the screen. I was uncomfortable.
Well, you don't even know if they're a Muslim.
I don't even know that. But it made me uncomfortable because it felt like because of the negative portrayal. I mean, like this is the guy who has killed one of America's most beloved superheroes. It felt like it was
Parents,
his
parents.
His parents. It felt like it was playing off of
Fears.
So that's what made me uncomfortable.
So. We also got called out on commenting on Gal Gadot's accent in the previous trailer.
And I said I was concerned about how thick her accent was, and it's not because I don't like her accent. I think her accent is awesome, and actually it's very appropriate for the character since the character is not American. What I was concerned with, and I think I mentioned a few sentences later, was that I don't want people thinking that just because she can't fully enunciate the words in English, I don't want them thinking that she's not intelligent or anything like that. Again, the character's not American. Well, she's supposed to have an accent, pretty much.
Well, my concern wasn't like based on stereotyping other people who speak in accents as less intelligent than
that's what I was concerned with.
But my concern was that it was just being able to understand her.
Okay.
It's always tricky to you have to pay a little bit more attention when someone is speaking in a different accent. Exactly the way you have to pay attention to me when I mumble all the time.
That's pretty much it for that. I just wanted to make sure because after listening to those recordings, I could kind of see where the person who reached out to us on Twitter had a point.
Sort of, like later on in the broader context when we've continue to speak. I thought we kind of handled those situations well, or kind of clarified where we were coming from in a non-racist way. But I guess people only catch sound bites, I guess, occasionally when they're listening. So
yeah, okay. So that is it for that. So this week we're going to be talking about. I think the big news of this episode will be the Inhumans TV series announcement.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about the new Deadpool director. There was some news about the Marvel Studios and Fox deal. They apparently swapped characters.
We're not even characters.
It's hard to explain.
We'll explain
talk about
it. We'll go into it.
And then we'll talk about what we thought about the Suicide Squad extended cut discussion. It wasn't enough footage to warrant a new review, but it's worth discussing what they cut out and why. And then after that, of course, the entire point of this whole episode is to talk about Supergirl versus Captain Marvel. It's the big battlecast between these two bombshells, and it should be a pretty good fight, I think.
Which is why we chose the girl power tie-in song at the beginning that also is related to Supergirl and that she's in the DC Superhero Girls.
There you go, full circle. That's why we picked that song. All right, let's go ahead and get...
I also want to say, it's also telling that the biggest news this episode is about TV. It's really slow right now.
slow couple of weeks. But I think in the next few weeks we're supposed to get...
Spider-Man Homecoming trailer and the Justice League trailer. Hopefully.
Yes. Hopefully, we'll see. Anyway, all right, so Marvel and ABC and IMAX, they're all partnering together for an Inhumans TV series and premiere movie. So this came as a big shock to me last week because I'm a big fan of the Inhumans, and it was really disappointing when they knocked the Inhumans movie off the slate that was supposed to come out in 2019.
Yeah.
So I just kind of assumed that they had pushed it back, but they haven't announced any more movies, so I don't know.
In a way, with this news, they brought it 2 years forward.
Yeah, in a way, they brought it 2 years forward, so that's pretty cool. So in 2017, sometime in September, the plan is they're going to release the first 2 episodes of a brand new Inhumans TV show that's going to be on ABC. They're going to premiere the first 2 episodes in IMAX format in theaters for about 2 weeks, I heard. Mm-hmm. There's going to be 8 episodes total, so it's more of a mini-series. So 1/4 of the whole season is going to be on the big screen.
Right.
Which I think is actually pretty cool.
I'm actually super stoked for this. I think more and more we're seeing with shows like the Netflix series, and really I think with HBO's, what was the name of the show? With Matthew McConaughey and
oh no, what's the name of the show?
No,
you know which one we're talking about, with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. Are you gonna look it up?
True Detective.
Detective.
There we go. That's one of my favorite shows. I would have been really mad at myself.
That was a great show.
That. I think that really proved that long form content is now the way to go, and I think this is absolutely great news for the direction. I mean, you take a look at like Doctor Strange, the last film that was out. Wouldn't that have been better as a TV show? You say yes. All
Yes.
superhero movies, I think, would work a lot better as a TV show. So it's exciting to see, like, especially like a company like IMAX.
Yeah, but I like movies. Here's the thing. I will admit that my first reaction to this news was disappointment.
Really?
Because I really wanted my Inhumans movie. But then they said that they're going to release, which essentially is a movie. It's going to be a 2-hour, because each episode is an hour. It's going to be, a 2-hour premiere in theaters. We're pretty much getting the Inhumans movie. But I don't know, like no cast has been announced, no directors have been announced. I don't know what the special effects are going to be like. I'm sure they won't be movie quality, but I'm sure that they'll be better than, say, the Netflix shows.
I've been pretty surprised with even, like, CW shows about the quality of their special effects. Like, I'm thinking, like, on The Flash, their special effects are top-notch.
And Martian Manhunter is pretty good on Supergirl.
Yeah, he's not bad.
That's true. So the focus now, we've all seen Inhuman characters on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, but the press release states that this has nothing to do, this won't tie in directly to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because it's different Inhuman characters.
Right. It's going to focus on the royal family, which is, the Inhumans that we all want to see.
Which is awesome.
I'm hoping, I was under the assumption that the movie was going to partly adapt the Paul Jenkins Jay Lee story arc that ran in 1998. It was one of the first Marvel Knights titles.
Yeah,
I really loved that series.
I didn't read it, but I flipped through it, and I really liked the art. Jay Lee's art is just awesome.
Yeah, I saw him at Comic-Con last time, and I just really wanted to talk to him, but he was busy drawing, and I thought I would bug him and everything. But anyway, so I'm hoping this TV show also maybe adapts that storyline, because that was a fantastic one. So I don't think that Vin Diesel is I think he was rumored to be attached to play Black Bolt.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to be the case anymore, and that is going to TV.
Well, even James Gunn has said that that's probably not the case, unless Vin Diesel wants to take like a pretty massive pay cut.
Yeah. I hope he does, because it's a great character. He can offset for how much he gets paid to do Guardians of the Galaxy. Just those 3 words. He should take a pay cut to do Inhumans.
Although we don't even know how much he gets paid to say those 3 words over and over again.
I'm sure he gets paid too much. But so we're gonna basically get the Inhumans movie in theaters. The story's gonna continue on the small screen.
Yeah.
I think 8 episodes is a good amount of episodes. I think we've said before that, and that's how many episodes the new Defender show is going to be.
Right,
and I think we mentioned when that was announced that I think 8 is a better episode number than 13 because the 13 episode long seasons of Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, they have a few filler episodes, and the story tends to drag out a little bit among those. I think 8 episodes you could tell the same story, but make it more better paced. Yeah, I guess.
When I first heard this, I had no negative feelings whatsoever. I was actually pretty excited. Yeah. Just because I like the way long form content, the direction that's going. My only concern.
Oh, there's my ice maker.
My only concern now is that this is going to be released next fall. We don't have a cast. They probably haven't started shooting yet. And I know it doesn't take as long to film a television show as it does a movie, but this is the Inhumans, and there's going to be a ton of special effects. So
that's true.
I did say, special effects on TV have been a lot better, but I do want this to be really good. You think they would have already made casting announcements? You think they would have already started shooting or said they'll start shooting next week or something like that? The sooner they could get all of that in gear, the better. And this feels like a late announcement to me.
It does feel like a late announcement. And next year is going to be super packed with Marvel television shows.
What do you mean?
We're going to have Iron Fist, The Defenders, The Punisher, Inhumans, another season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's 5 TV shows.
DC has that.
Yeah, but these are going to be actually good TV shows.
DC has great shows.
Yeah, they're okay.
I can't wait for the 4-part crossover of Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and Legends.
Oh, that's coming up at the end of this month, right?
Yeah, next week.
Are we going to review that? We'll talk about it on the next episode.
Yeah, it won't. Yeah, it's not. We're not going to dedicate a whole episode to reviewing it, but we'll definitely talk about it.
It should be exciting. Okay, is that it for that news? Did we go over? I feel like we're missing something, like some key.
I think the biggest part of this is just IMAX.
Yeah, the IMAX is cool.
That's the best part.
Man, I cannot wait.
They're filming the entire thing with IMAX cameras, which is insane
For a TV show, that is insane. I can't wait to see like Black Bolt like fly with his and his metal wings and his the whole electron thing on the tuning fork on his head.
Well, it makes you wonder. Like,
I want to see Lockjaw. That's gonna be awesome.
I wonder if we will.
We will.
If they're shooting everything in IMAX, and they're only showing the first episode or the first two episodes in a 1 2-hour film, essentially, how are they going to distribute the other IMAX footage? I mean, no one has a TV in the aspect ratio of an IMAX screen.
My guess is that did they say specifically that they're shooting the entire series in IMAX format?
I believe that is true.
Or just the first two episodes?
Because I think it was the whole thing.
It would kind of be a waste if they shot everything past the first two episodes in IMAX if they're not going to show it in IMAX.
It's true. Yeah, and I actually remember reading an article that brought up that same point.
Oh, they say the Inhuman series will also be filmed completely with IMAX cameras. So
yeah.
Okay, so it's just a waste then.
There has to be. Yeah, I think when you watch on your widescreen, I wonder if they'll have a mode, like when it becomes available on Blu-ray or digital download or whatever, to see it in that IMAX ratio.
Maybe,
which might be kind of terrible on your TV.
Yeah.
It'll be smaller.
I don't know. I see now that they're doing this, though, I just want them to do all content like this now. Like, all the Iron Man movies, all the Avengers, all the Guardians of the Galaxy, all those franchises.
Everything in TV.
I think they should do
form.
Yeah, just do like a movie, and then you don't even have to do sequels. Just continue the story in an 8-part miniseries, and then go from there.
Although you can say the closest thing to that and to like a long form content is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You could almost consider each one like an episode of a TV series in a way, maybe. It's the closest thing we have.
I guess it is. Yeah, that's true. Except the thing about that's off about that is the contracts, the movie contracts. They're all going to expire soon. All the actors that we know, a lot of them rather, in the Inhumans franchise.
Those movies are making so
Avengers
much money.
Rather.
Those movies are making so much money they could afford to pay the actors more. Except for maybe Robert Downey Jr. because that guy makes a shit ton.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for that then.
Yeah.
So we were going to report on this 2 weeks ago, but it was kind of...
It was still up in the air.
It was still up in the air. David Leitch?
Yes, Leitch. David Leitch.
Leitch. We're going to say Leitch. David Leitch has signed on to helm the Deadpool sequel. So, yeah, I think that we had a pretty good idea that was going to happen, but it still wasn't 100% confirmed. It is 100% confirmed now. Have you seen John Wick, is the question.
Heck yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah, have you?
I have not.
Well, he didn't direct John Wick 1. He directed John Wick, the second one, which isn't out yet. So.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Let me look that up real quick.
Oh my gosh.
No, he directed the first one.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he was actually a co-director.
Do not know what I'm talking about.
He did not direct the second one. No. He was a co-director on the first John Wick movie. And he has a big stunt background.
Oh, wow.
Man, I still would have preferred Joe Carnahan just because I don't really know this guy's work at all.
I don't mind them going with an unknown director just because that sort of seems to be the trend for like Marvel films and it tends to work out for them. Mm-hmm. But also because I think you kind of get to keep like the charm of Deadpool, like the low budget charm, by not going with a big time director. Joe Carnahan is a big time director, and so is I forgot who my choice was last episode.
Steve Soderbergh or something?
Yes, Steven Sommers or something like that.
Steve Sommers.
Yeah.
Steven Soderbergh would be a better choice. Anyway.
So I'm not really, other than John Wick, I'm not too familiar with this director. John Wick was awesome, though.
Yeah?
It was great. It was a great film.
I heard it was really good. I want to see it.
It's really good.
I just haven't done it yet. Because it's not a Marvel movie.
But what's interesting about this news, too, I think, is that they've also kind of gone out of their way to say that this will not be the director of Deadpool 3.
That is weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like, I don't even know if that's confirmed or anything like that. It seems just like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But we don't even know if there's going to be a Deadpool 3.
No, I think there will be. It seems like Deadpool 3 is where they're gonna make it into like an X-Force film, and this is how they're gonna reboot the X-Men franchise, I believe. I think this seems more certain than a post X-Men Apocalypse feature in that timeline.
Yeah,
so,
I'm fine with that because that the main X-Men franchise movies have kind of gotten a little bit stale.
Yeah.
At least the last movie was a little bit stale.
Yeah, I think Logan will be a good closure to that whole kind of universe. And this new Deadpool universe, I think, is will pick up where the other one left off.
Yeah,
a little bit more entertaining. I don't know. That's probably not the right word. I don't know. It seems like Deadpool will be the new Wolverine.
Yeah,
just like the main character of the X-Men films.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I still hope they do the whole thing where like he and Cable like pluck people out of the timeline, because I don't really want to see the actors from Apocalypse recast. I'd rather just see them plucked out of the timeline. And there's precedent in the comics for the original, for like Cyclops and Jean Grey and all of them to come into the future.
Yeah. And you could even have them
X-Factor.
You could have them pluck out the new X-23. And
that's true.
She could be in X-Force, so you could still kind of continue maybe that same timeline. So that would be cool.
Yeah. So Tim Miller was a big VFX guy. He hadn't directed too many movies, but he did direct a lot of visual effects sequences. And now we have David Leitch, who is not a big director. He's only directed a few things, but he's big into stunts. Mm-hmm. So do you think that we'll see Deadpool go from a VFX movie into more of a practical effects movie?
No, I think they have all the learnings that they had with the first film, so they know like the tone and the style they want to go for with this brand. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's going to take away from any of the special effects. I think it'll only add action by bringing him on.
There were a few moments in Deadpool where I thought he looked a little rubbery, like maybe they shouldn't have replaced him with a CGI version in that particular shot, and have gone with like a practical effect on wires or something like that. So maybe we'll see more of that. This might be good news. It probably is good news. I don't know. I'm ambivalent.
It's kind of hard to say without having, knowing more, without being as familiar with the director as, Tim Miller.
Yeah.
Do you think that future Deadpool films will need to be rated R? So like once they do bring in like X-Force and stuff like that, do you think Fox just has like the R-rated superhero market now cornered with these films?
Yes. I think that if you have a Deadpool movie where he's not saying F and S and all those things.
You say F and S like we don't cuss on this podcast.
If he's not saying fucking shit, then it's going to feel weird, I think. And like if he ends up being part of the major X-Men universe and with a lot of other characters, then at that point maybe like bleep him or something. Or like he knows he can, in a PG-13 movie, you can only say fuck once. So like he's like waiting for it or something, and then all of a sudden like Cable will be like fuck, and then like he'll get all pissed off or something like that. Because
that would be hilarious.
They took it from him or something.
That would be, and that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Or if he starts getting bleeped, he'd be like, "What the bleep was that? Am I in a PG-13 movie?"
Yeah, you can have some fun with it.
Yeah, totally.
So, all right, I think that's it for that. Moving on to more Fox news.
More Deadpool-related news.
Yeah, Deadpool-related news. Marvel Studios and Fox swapped. Well, I guess the news is that they swapped characters, but that was the headline. But the actual news is
James Gunn.
The writers wanted to use Negasonic Teenage Warhead in the first Deadpool movie, but they didn't want to use her powers. They just wanted her name. In order to get permission to do that, to change up the character, apparently they had to get permission from Marvel.
Which is weird.
Because Fox has changed up the X-Men characters' like abilities and everything, like especially in X-Men 3.
Yeah, totally.
And when you saw like Calypso running as fast as Quicksilver, and you saw what was the other weird one? There was a lot of weird ones in that one, and I can't remember off the top of my head. It was like a lot of the Morlocks had their powers swapped.
Right. And even the Dark Phoenix.
Even in Days of Future Past, when Shadowcat had like time traveling psychic abilities,
Right?
kind of. See, so I mean, they have a history of changing the powers of their mutant characters, but apparently for this one, for some reason, they had to go get permission. That's not to say they didn't have to get permission before, but it seems this time Marvel instigated more of a trade, a deal, saying you can use these powers for Negasonic Teenage Warhead if we get the rights to the character of Ego, the Living Planet.
Well, yeah, James Gunn had written Guardians of the Galaxy 2
right.
with Ego already ran into it, not knowing that they didn't have permission to use him.
Yes, and I'm assuming that Ego, the Living Planet, he doesn't show up in the X-Men comics. But I think he was part of the Fantastic Four package.
Yeah. Which so I've had this sort of unspoken notion that Marvel Phase 4 will be all about the Fantastic Four and like cosmic characters like Galactus and Silver Surfer.
This is why I don't want the actors' contracts to expire, because I want to see the Fantastic Four enter this universe, but also interact with characters like Steve Rogers and Tony Stark and Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I think they'll sort of replace the Avengers in a way. But, I mean, if they're still making deals about, like, oh, you could use this character from the Fantastic Four, it still means that Fox has rights to the Fantastic Four, and they haven't done the secret deal where they transferred ownership. So that sucks. But that's what I got out of this news. I was like, damn it, Fox still has the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Give them up.
Yeah. They will eventually.
It's like, give Fox more access to like more like X-Men characters in exchange for the Fantastic Four. I don't know.
They already have the rights to all the X-Men characters.
Or let Deadpool become part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Make the same deal you made with Sony so that Fox can give you the Fantastic Four, because that needs to be Phase 4.
Yeah, the deal with Sony is that they can use Spider-Man Marvel can use Spider-Man in their movies, but Sony still owns the rights to the character, and they make all the money off of the individual Spider-Man movies.
Right. Make that same deal with
But
Fox.
Marvel gets has creative control over those films.
It would not make sense.
Or greater.
It would not make sense if...
Control.
How perfect would it be if Phase 4 was all about the Fantastic Four? Because once the Infinity War is over, that's the end of Phase 3, right?
Yes.
More or less. The only bigger baddie than, like, Thanos, I think, is, like, Galactus.
Right.
So if you could spend, like, another, like, 3 series building up Galactus, that would be cool.
That would be fantastic.
4.
I see what you did there. I was going to say something, and then you went off in your rant, and I just started thinking about how I don't want these contracts to expire again. I think once the contracts do expire, just get the rights to their digital likeness, and then make all these just digital animated films, I think.
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
That would be really weird. Like, the actual actor would be, like, 70 years old, but their 30-year-old self will still be playing superheroes in films.
Yeah, or something like that. Anyway, I think is that it for that news?
Sorry for... Do you remember what you were going to say?
No, I totally forgot what I was going to say. It was on topic, though. I just don't remember. Okay, so we'll move on to Suicide Squad.
Yes.
So I went over to your house a few days ago, and we watched it.
On Thursday night.
Just trying to see if we were going to make a whole episode out of it, and no.
Yeah. So right off the bat, like, my impression of it, or my review of it, is that it adds slightly better characterization and a little bit more humor, but ultimately it doesn't change the story of the film, which is where a majority of the problems I felt came from, and therefore I'm not changing my rating, the 3-star rating that I initially had for the theatrical release.
Yeah, I would say it still stays at 3 stars. It was only my second time seeing the film, because I saw it once in theaters, and that's when we did the review. And
it was my third time.
This is my second time, and I was still like, what are they doing? What's going on? That's stupid. Like, I will have to admit, I'm so on board with this movie up until they get into Midway City. Oh, once the helicopter crashes.
Once their mission starts.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic film. I like where they were going with it, maybe, or where I thought they were going with it. But then after that, it just becomes like this weird series of. It's like they didn't know where to take the stories. It's like it's just weird character interactions.
Oh, it's overcrowded. There's too many characters. I think that's what I said in the last.
With not enough to do, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember we were watching it, and then like the helicopter gets shot down, and we were both like, "Who shot down the helicopter?" Like I feel like I've thought of that like a few times, but I always forget to like talk about it. It's still unclear. Like I mean, we did see some of like the creatures with eyeballs all over their bodies with guns, but it's still unclear as to who shot down their helicopter. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, it was them, but
yeah, it had to be.
You want to go and break down all the differences, and we'll talk about them?
Yeah, sure. So the earliest difference I think was when they're going through like the different dossiers. We get a little bit more from the Joker and Harley Quinn in the electroshock therapy scene where he's shocking her.
Yeah.
Joker has a little bit more dialogue, and there's
both do.
Interesting line where he says that like she
wiped his memories.
She wiped his memories, or something like that.
He said, "What precious few I had left," or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a weird line.
But it was unclear because I've seen like different articles talk about that line, and it's unclear as to like whether she zapped his memories or like he told her his past. And like she's the only one who knows like who he really is, or something like that. So he had to like zap her. I don't know. I think people were confused about that scene because I didn't get that.
I didn't get it. I didn't get that. I got it that she. See, so my impression is that she performed electroshock therapy on him, and he was getting revenge.
Yeah. And
the electroshock wiped his memories, or some of them.
Yeah. So like she almost had a hand in creating the Joker.
Yeah.
Or at least like his like the mystery behind the Joker.
Yeah. Like who his real identity is and everything like that.
Right. Which is interesting.
Yeah. We could talk about it now. We could jump around, right? Yeah. So I didn't like the scene, the motorcycle scene where she chases him on the bike and then stops in front of him and then holds the gun at him. Yeah. I think it was that scene that I came to the realization that I just don't like this version of the Joker.
The one good line from the Joker, I think, that came out of this whole movie that I was like, yeah, that's kind of the Joker, where he says like, what he says, like, I'm not someone who is loved, I'm an idea, a state of mind. It's like, okay, you're getting kind of closer, but
I hated if you weren't so insane, I'd think you were crazy or something like that, or if you weren't so crazy, I'd think you were insane. That was stupid. Yeah. Like, I don't think Jared Leto, he's a fantastic actor. He just, for all the hype behind his performance and everything like that, just didn't pull it off, I have to say.
I wonder if that's in the writing or in the acting.
I think it's in the writing, mostly.
Yeah.
I think the lines that he says are worse than his performance. His performance is not, it's different, it's not horrible, but in the end, I would still prefer not to, I don't like the like, what I call the reptilian Joker. I like more of a standard take. More like the Heath Ledger's take was fantastic, obviously. But
Mark Hamill was interviewed recently, and he, if listeners don't know, Mark Hamill does the voice of the Joker, or he did the voice of the Joker in the animated series, he did a great job. What am I talking about? You're listening to this podcast, of course you know that. Anyway, so they asked him like, what did you think of Jared Leto's Joker? He was like, I liked it. I think it was fine. I don't think there is a definitive take on the Joker.
I would say his animated series Joker is the definitive take for me.
He probably wouldn't agree with you. That's the thing. Because I think then you're taking away from someone like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Heath Ledger's Joker, I don't think was a typical Joker. And while it was fantastic, it was... I see that whole world though. Christopher Nolan's like, when I think of Batman, I still don't think of Christopher Nolan's Batman. When I think of the Joker, I don't think of Heath Ledger's Joker. I think because they're nothing like how the comics portrayed him. Yeah. I think Mark Hamill's version of the Joker is the definitive on-screen Joker because it's the closest one to the comics.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the video games, like he did the voice of Joker in the Arkham series as well. Mm-hmm. Well, the first two, and that Joker's great. I just wish they would turn the Arkham series into a movie, because that
might happen.
that should the Arkham series should be like in the same universe as the current DC cinematic universe. It's like you don't need to retell Batman's origin or anything else. Just have him already established. Have him have a Robin and all the Nightwing and all the different cool like Bat family things that are around Batman. Mm-hmm. I was really hoping that was the case. Still could be, maybe not.
Still
Probably
could
not. I don't think it can. Anyway, just because of the Joker.
Yeah. We digress. Let's get back to Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Okay, so there's more Joker, a little more. Did it feel like 13 minutes were added? I thought it felt like a little bit, just slightly a little bit more.
It felt like 13 minutes to me. I like all the additional Killer Croc stuff they added.
Yeah, that was like the next
Killer
thing.
Croc was barely a character in the theatrical
He had like
version.
2 lines in the theatrical version.
And
it was one of them was like, nah, I'm beautiful, and the other one was like, I live in the sewers kind of thing.
Yeah.
But those were really his only lines.
Yeah. In this one, like, you have that great scene with the guards where they're afraid of him, and like one of the guys got his hand bit off.
Yeah.
You had a lot of great moments, I think, and the whole scene where they're in Midway City, and this was a great scene for Harley too, where she's like walking around, kind of like bugging people, but also kind of like
psychoanalyzing them.
Yeah, and she was like trying to psychoanalyze Killer Croc, and he was getting annoyed with her and everything.
She was like, "Why don't you eat me?" I just laughed at that part.
So. Yeah, I think she had some good moments. I think the ones that benefited the most from the extra screen time were Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, Killer Croc. And
actually, the Deadpool... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Deadshot, Rick Flag relationship was expanded upon.
Yeah, but I think like Deadshot's character... I almost said Deadpool. Deadshot's character was... the strongest thing of the theatrical release as well. So I don't think he benefited really too much from the extended cut. I would agree. It's probably Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and then if there was a third one, it would probably be Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, he had a few extra lines.
He just had a few extra like one-liners, like jokes. Like talking about I refer to myself as or think of myself as a asset relocation specialist.
Yeah,
which it works. And then like he's like, okay, Socrates, or when he was trying to. There was another additional scene when Deadshot tells Harley Quinn to spread the word that they're gonna plot an escape, and then she talks to Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang talks to everyone else and kind of pisses everyone else off.
Yeah. It was kind of like a game of telephone a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It was kind of funny. But for a film that like was supposed to be like entirely reshot and like restructured in post-production to be like more lighthearted and fun, I don't know why they cut one-liners out of the film.
Right. This is definitely a superior version to the theatrical cut, even though it's only marginally different.
Right.
You know what the best scene improvement was?
What?
I think the bar scene.
Oh, absolutely.
They made that such I was so disappointed in that scene when I saw it in theaters, but they actually made it work in the theatrical cut.
They added scenes from all the the marketing material and the trailers and stuff back into the with that. I love this guy, and that's when he asks for water and she's like, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they added so much stuff and it worked so much better as a scene.
Yeah.
I think it was the strongest scene in the film in terms of what they were going for with this
totally.
This ragtag team of characters all interacting.
Like the conflict between Deadshot and El Diablo felt more natural, more organic, and it was just easier to comprehend, just because you got a little bit more backstory on each of them leading up to it too. You got more scenes with Deadshot just thinking of his daughter and stuff like that, and then a little bit more in the beginning where you see El Diablo just a little bit more standoffish from the group.
Right.
So
yeah, each character was more fully realized. They felt like actual characters this time, as opposed to I don't know, cameos.
But even Katana, when she gets psychoanalyzed by Harley Quinn, she takes off her mask.
Yeah,
you see that she's been through some stuff.
Yeah, she had a good little character moment. She still felt kind of like a cameo, but less so.
Yeah.
In the extended cut, I won't go so far as to say so with the whole BVS thing, the Ultimate Edition. that extended cut is not a completely different film, but
The ultimate cut.
it is a different film than the theatrical version.
I agree.
I wanted this
not
to
a
be
different
that
film.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, I guess.
This should have been the theatrical cut. It's only 13 minutes longer.
If anything, like when I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is pretty good. Yeah. Well, they should have left that part in, and I was quite unsure how I felt about it until after sitting on it for about a day. My main takeaway was just anger. Like, why the hell did they cut this stuff out of the theatrical cut?
Yeah, the only scene that I think they could have cut was probably like the Harley Quinn motorcycle scene, which is like the one thing I wanted to see. But it was so pointless. It ended up being pretty pointless. Yeah, I could see why they cut it. But all the rest of it, it absolutely should have been in the theatrical cut.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's like idiots.
Who's making those decisions?
Idiots.
I know. I really want to know, like, who's making those decisions. Is it
because they need to get fired?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like same meddling that they did with BVS.
How did this movie make $750 million? That's what I want to know. It's not good enough to do that. It's no Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think a lot of it has to do with the music, the diversity of the cast, because a lot more people can relate to it. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
I can maybe seeing this extended cut making that much money, but the theatrical cut making $750 million?
It made almost as much as Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just makes me mad. Someone fire somebody, please.
Well, you have to wonder if they're going to learn their lesson from this film because it made so much money in the end.
No, they won't.
We'll see. We'll see with Jeff Johns on board. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully it's better.
Yeah. I want to see Killer Croc in a Batman movie.
I want to see Killer Croc. I want to see all the Batman rogues in a Batman movie. I mean, I want to see Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn in a Batman film too.
Do you think we're going to work our way toward a... Okay. All right, here. Okay.
I want to see Deadshot in film too.
Before I continue my thought right there, I have a theory. Okay, this is what I want to see from each of from the DC universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I want to see Marvel get the rights to X-Men back, and I want to see an Avengers vs. X-Men movie. I want to see, in the DC side of things, I want to see them eventually work their way to a Justice League vs. Suicide Squad movie.
Well, they're actually doing that in the comics, like this winter, I believe.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Because I want to see Ben Affleck and Deadshot in a scene together again. Because that's still like one of my favorite scenes in this film. It's just seeing Batman glide down and then whip out the bat cuffs. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That was the best part of the movie.
Deadshot's just a good Batman villain.
Ben Affleck is so the animated series Batman.
Totally.
It's perfect, man.
He's really good.
So, okay.
What else is there? I'm trying to think of...
Are there any standout scenes or anything that you wanted to talk about?
We kind of like touched on each and every one. That you're starting to talk about like the greater relationship between Deadshot and Rick Flag. Mm-hmm. That was definitely more key to the film. Like even so far that like Harley kind of suspects, she calls him like a sellout and a rat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it kind of helps both of their arcs. There was a major scene when they're going to to Enchantress, and Rick Flag is talking more about love, about how he didn't believe in love, and then
that was a great scene.
That was a really good scene. It really helped his character, and because in the theatrical cut, like I really didn't believe that they were in love, but in this one, I a lot of more motivations make sense.
Yes,
because of that. So, and I can't remember if this was the theatrical version, but when Amanda Waller was saying why she stayed behind to so she could study Enchantress and figure out like how to make her own like army of those eyeball monsters.
Right.
I've seen the movie twice in theaters, and I don't remember that line.
It wasn't in the movie.
That should have been in the movie.
That absolutely should have been in the movie.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah, otherwise it just makes it seem like she was dumb and just forgot to leave the city in the middle of all this crisis. You know?
Yeah, totally.
And got stuck.
Yeah.
Stupid.
That's a huge plot point.
Yeah. See, I just get more angry the more I think about it. I mean, it was At the end of the day, this is an okay film. We gave it 3 stars out of 5. It's decent. This doesn't really
right
drastically improve it. It's better.
Yeah.
So if you liked the film, you'll like this even better. If you didn't like the film, you still won't like the film.
If you liked the film because of Harley and Joker, which I think a lot of people did, getting to see a more intelligent Harley is also a big plus.
That's true.
Seeing her like psychoanalyze people and stuff like that, that makes me appreciate her character so much more. I still don't like the fact that they didn't show any abuse between the two, because that kind of ruins their relationship for me. This is not like a heroic relationship. These are two bad guys. They're two villains. They're two crazy, unstable people. Mm-hmm. The relationship should be unstable.
Yeah, it's not all lovey-dovey.
No, not at all. Again, Joker's one love should be Batman. His one obsession should be Batman. You know?
Right.
But anyway, I think that's just about everything.
Okay. All right. So with the news out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get into the Battlecast and talk about who would win in a fight between Captain Marvel and Supergirl.
Sweet, let's do it.
It's time for a Battlecast. Marvel versus DC. Let's begin.
All right, so Supergirl versus Captain Marvel. If you're listening to one of our Battlecasts for the first time, the way this whole podcast was really heavily inspired by this Spike TV show called Deadliest Warrior. Mm-hmm. And in the show, the way they chose who would win, like in the battles, was they would take stats based on all of the different attributes of the characters, and then compare them against each other 1,000 times.
Yeah, they would simulate 1,000 matches using the Monte Carlo method.
Right. So we're doing the same thing, but in this instance, we use stats, official stats from the Marvel Power Rankings, or what is it called, the Power Grid?
The Power Grid, yeah.
And then we use those same parameters for the DC characters, and we add a few more stats that we think are pertinent to the battles, and that's how we judge who wins. It's math, people, and
it's indisputable, irrefutable.
Kind of. Like I listen to like a lot of like YouTube podcasts or just channels where they'll talk about characters and decide who win. But like it's always like one battle. It's always like based on like who they think is more powerful than the other. When in reality, like you could always write a way for Batman to defeat Superman. Right. So when it's more than just one battle, when it's 1,000 battles, and we look at the stats to see how many each character won, because it's never a 100% victory. Mm-hmm. The battles we've done so far, no character has beaten the other character 100% of the time. So I like our method.
I like it too.
I'm a little impartial. But,
yeah.
Anyway, so with that information up front, before we get into those stats, we talk about, we kind of give a character breakdown for each one. So let's start with Supergirl.
Okay. Tell us about Supergirl.
So when I started reading comics, there's been a few different Supergirls. When I started, Supergirl was a human protoplasmic angel hybrid with
what?
Yeah, she was Linda Danvers. Anyway, I'm not going to go to this version.
Danvers? Carol Danvers?
Yes. Yeah, and I knew this was going to bring you were going to
what a ripoff.
So anyway, the most popular version across other media is probably the Kara Zor-El version of Supergirl. She's the one who had her own movie. She's the one who has her own TV show right now. Mm-hmm. So that's who I'm using in this Battlecast.
Okay. I see. When we first pitched this idea, I was thinking more along the lines of Power Girl versus Captain Marvel.
Yeah, no.
But I guess Power Girl's not around anymore now that the rebirth has happened, or
no, she's still around.
Okay, she's
the Supergirl of Earth 2, and Huntress is the Robin of Earth 2.
Oh, really?
But Power Girl's powers have always kind of tended to fluctuate, just because her origin was never always. It was in flux. Like, you never knew whether she was Supergirl or whether she was an Atlantean, and whether she had heat vision or not or anything. So I figured the Kara Zor-El version would be a better matchup.
She's more established.
For Supergirl, not only because she is an established alien, but she also has definitive powers like heat vision. She has all of Superman's powers, but we'll get into those.
Okay. All right. Supergirl.
So Kara Zor-El. So she is a Silver Age character. I think she debuted in the late 50s. So in the original version, there was a city that survived the destruction of Krypton. It was like in its own like bubble.
Kendor, right?
No.
Oh.
You're thinking the bottled city of Kendor, which Brainiac shrunk.
Never mind.
No, this is Argo City.
Okay.
And because like it had its own protective bubble, when Krypton exploded, it was just kind of like careened off into space to and just kind of like rode the wave of Krypton's destruction. They eventually like managed to like steer it towards Earth, so like they were heading towards Earth. Now Jor-El, Superman's father, Jor-El, he had a younger brother named Zor-El who was on this hurtling rock.
Okay.
And he met a woman named Allura Inze. This is the Silver Age version, remember?
Okay.
And they had a child, Kara Zor-El. That's Supergirl. And so on their way to Earth.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So Kara Zor-El, her last name is her father's first name.
Yes.
So how come Kal-El is his name Kal-El Jor-El?
No. Only the girls take the father's names.
Okay.
In the same way that Kara's mother's name, Allura, she also has the tag Inze. So her father's name was Inze.
Okay.
Anyway.
So
in this version, Kara is younger.
Wait. So if Superman has a daughter, her name's gonna be Schmitty Kal-El?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I think that actually one of the versions of Supergirl was Superman's daughter. I forget her name. Shit. Anyway, doesn't matter. Not talking about her. This isn't that version. Where was I? Oh yeah. So in this version, Kara is younger than Kal-El, than Superman. She never met Kal-El, Superman. So as this city in this dome is just floating through space towards Earth, slowly but surely the base, like the essentially the asteroid that they're floating on, is slowly becoming kryptonite.
Oh, okay.
They managed to protect themselves by lining the flooring with lead because it was a huge ass city. They had some resources. But when they entered the asteroid belt that's in our solar system, it it crashed through the bubble and it punctured the lead shielding. So all the Kryptonians started getting kryptonite poisoning. So they, while they were dying, Zor-El and Allura sent their daughter Kara the rest of the way to Earth.
In a small ship or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like Jor-El did.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So when she arrived on Earth, she took up the secret identity of Linda Lee, and was later adopted by a couple called Fred and Edna Danvers.
Danvers?
Yes.
What a ripoff.
This was done in the early 60s. So, just spoiler alert for the future of this podcast. Captain Marvel's alias is Carol Danvers.
Yeah, her real name. Yeah.
And she was established, I looked this up, she was a character that was created in the late 60s. So she is a ripoff of Supergirl.
Okay,
so now that we have that established...
She's still better.
Yeah, the Danvers name started off in Supergirl. So when she arrived on Earth, the Superman and she kind of like figured out that they were cousins, and because she wasn't like you sort of have like, remember the Smallville TV series?
Yeah.
How like he's like learned how to use his powers. Those were kind of like the old Supergirl stories, where like she was like helping like one person at a time and really like learning and developing new powers. And she became like a really like popular character in DC. Like she even like traveled to the future and was like a part of the Legion of Superheroes and stuff like that. And you know, she was allowed to go to college and have several different like, you know, careers and stuff like that. Just a strong female character. And that all came to an end in Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was this big comic book event in DC Comics where they were having problems with their continuity, so they just kind of decided to start fresh. It was the very first reboot in comics, essentially. But in that storyline, in an effort to save Superman, she sacrificed herself and she died. It was this big, huge, sad thing. There's a famous cover of Superman holding Kara, you know, in his arms.
Yeah, drawn by George Perez.
Yeah. So the character of Kara Zor-El was essentially stayed dead. Like in the reboot, it was decided that Superman, in the reboot after Crisis on Infinite Earths, it was decided that Superman needed to remain the sole survivor of Krypton. Just to, I don't know, make him more lonely or something. I don't know.
Okay. What about Crypto, the super dog?
He was retconned out of it. It's the same thing with Streaky the cat and Comet the horse. That didn't exist anymore.
Actually, Bippo the super monkey?
Yeah. Actually, Streaky was Supergirl's cat. She created him accidentally when she was trying to like create like an anti-form of kryptonite, but it ended up giving beings Superman's powers.
Weird.
Yeah. Anyway, she's dead for a long time. After that, because Superman was the only character allowed to be a descendant of, or the last remaining survivor of Krypton. You had other Supergirls, like the one I started reading about, which was like the weird Angel Matrix thing, and then like a few others. It wasn't until like the mid 2000s that Kara came back, and it was in Jeff Loeb's and
Batman vs Superman, right?
it was Batman Superman comic, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was with Jeff Loeb
I read that
and Michael Turner. Fantastic art. I still miss Michael Turner's art. But she came to Earth, and it was basically explained that she was sent to Earth by her parents to look after Kal-El, her younger cousin. But her spaceship was like encrusted with kryptonite and thrown off course. So when she came crashing to Earth, she brought a ton of like a huge amount of kryptonite along with her. And so then that was the return of Kara Zor-El after all of these decades of her being dead.
Well, she was still in the cartoon.
No, that was the Linda Denver's version, and they weren't cousins in the cartoon. She was from a neighboring planet to
called Argo.
Called Argo. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't cousins.
Huh.
In the movie, it was Kara, but that was still back. I think that was
early 90s?
No,
Late 80s?
Late. It was. I know. Kara was still alive in the comics when that movie came out. In fact, once the movie came out, a month later, I think, is when Supergirl died.
Oh, okay.
In the comics. Anyway, so they brought Kara back into like the new DC Comics universe, and she was she didn't take up the Danvers mantle. She's staying Kara Zor-El.
Good.
For at that point. And she was like, trained by Amazons, and, it was gone through, all these different storylines where, she was like corrupted by Darkseid and then recovered from that. And then, she too went to like the future to join the Legion of Superheroes and stuff like that. And so, she was just, again, a pretty well-established fan favorite character, which that didn't change, but like her origin was redone in the New 52, like every character's origin, where she's still Superman's cousin, and it's more along. I think that the best version of the character right now is actually from the TV show. I think in that origin, she gets stuck in the Phantom Zone where time doesn't pass on her way to follow her younger cousin. And then when she came to Earth, yeah, she was younger than Superman. Anyway, that's basically the character. Now, I mean, she's still around. She's still going on a whole bunch of, crazy adventures and stuff. Recently, because of Rebirth, she's also been made a lot younger. Now she's back in high school, and now she's back to being Danvers. It's more like a TV show, yeah.
Is her name Danvers in the TV show?
Yeah, she goes by Kara Danvers.
Stupid.
She was adopted by Jeremiah and Eliza Danvers. She has a sister named Alex Danvers.
So we have two people facing off each other who have the same last name.
Yes.
Awesome.
So powers.
I guess we did that with Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So powers wise, she has all the powers of Superman. She has flight, super strength, super speed, super senses, including hearing and sight, microscopic vision, telescopic vision. She has heat vision and cold breath.
Freeze breath.
Yeah.
Cryo breath. Does she have any powers that are different from Superman?
No, not this version. In some characters in the DC Comics universe kind of get the sense that she's like stronger than Superman, but Superman has been noted as saying like it's probably because I've spent my whole life like trying to hold back, whereas you like came here older, not aware of your powers, so you're not like you haven't been
more
mentally you haven't been like mentally like you don't have that sort of like innate restraint that comes with an upbringing that he had. Okay. So when she does go into battle, she is much more reckless. She moves faster. She punches harder. So
okay, interesting.
That's Supergirl.
Sounds super lame.
You were waiting for that.
I had no idea they had the same last name. It makes me think that yeah, Captain Marvel is one of those rip-off characters.
Yeah, I mean it's a blonde character named Danvers in a primary colored suit.
And her name
super
is
strong. She could fly.
And Captain Marvel's name is Carol, which sounds a lot like
Kara. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Admit it.
No. No. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about Captain Marvel then. Personal history with the character. I was never a huge fan of Miss Marvel. I always thought they should just bring back Mar-Vell, also known as Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah, the first Captain Marvel.
He was a Kree warrior
on Marvel's side at least, because DC had a Captain Marvel for a long time too.
Right. But in the past decade, I think, ever since the House of M, in that alternate timeline, she was the world's most popular superhero, and since that time, she's always been like a real Type A personality, but she's really like taken charge and kind of like really come into her own, and is definitely I would say part of, in the comics at least, an A-list hero in the Marvel universe, and that's probably why she's getting her own movie soon.
Yeah, and that's why I think that's why they chose her to be part of like their new Civil War. Like she's the next biggest character in that next to Iron Man.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I've become quite a fan over the past decade, and so here's her history. So her name is Carol Danvers. In her early life, she was a hardworking like space enthusiast. Who she joined the Air Force and was recruited by NASA as their head of security. And it was in this capacity that she met an alien named Mar-Vell, who was the original Captain Marvel, like I just said. They became fast friends and started falling in love, and they would team up to fight extraterrestrial threats to Earth. Mar-Vell saved Danvers from a Kree bad guy called Magnetron, but not before he pushed her into this alien device called the Psych Magnetron, and it altered her genetic structure to make her half Kree. So she's half human, half Kree now.
Oh, I thought Captain Marvel had something to do with her origin. Does he not?
Well, his bad guy is basically the one that transformed her into half Kree.
Okay.
By pushing her into the Psych Magnetron. Carol, she wasn't aware of the transformation initially, and she would later experience blackouts where like a second personality would emerge, and that was Miss Marvel, a Kree warrior with a costume similar to Mar-Vel's. And it was Ronan the Accuser, you know who that is?
Yeah.
Who helped restore her personality, and after that, she joined the Avengers as Miss Marvel. During her time with the Avengers, she eventually clashed with the power-absorbing mutant villain named Rogue. Rogue started out as an X-Men bad guy, if you remember.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot she was in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Yeah.
Right?
She nearly killed Carol by holding on too long, and drained pretty much all of her powers and memories. Professor X was later able to restore Carol's memories, but not her powers. So once... At this time, she was hanging around the X-Men a lot, kind of. And they were captured by the Brood. Do you know who the Brood are?
They're like the xenomorph type.
Yeah,
aliens,
kind of. They're
right?
like an alien parasitic race, and they're a frequent enemy of the X-Men. They experimented on her and triggered her powers again, but to a far greater extent than what she had previously. And she became like this being made out of like an energy being. And she went by the name
that's
of...
right, Binary.
Binary. Yep, Binary.
I remember that.
So she
Her
spent...
head was like a star.
Yeah, pretty much. She spent a lot of time in space at this point. She was like a space hero. And going on a lot of adventures with like Silver Surfer and things like that. She ended up exhausting much of of her energy, reigniting our sun, and she reverted back to like her normal human appearance. At that point, around that time, I should say, that was like during the Heroes Were Born stuff. She rejoined the Avengers and changed her name to Warbird, after the old planes that she used to fly in the Air Force. So she was with the Avengers again during the whole House of M event, like I mentioned earlier. That was where the Scarlet Witch like altered reality to like a mutant-led world, and it like really affected Carol. So once reality was restored, she really tried to bring herself like to the A-list because like she liked that reality, herself in that reality. Yeah. She saw her potential essentially. So in the last decade, she's led the mighty Avengers, and she oversaw a team during the whole Avengers vs. X-Men event. She led a team to go investigate the returning Phoenix Force. And while she was out in space, she met Mar-Vel again.
Oh, he was still alive?
No, so Mar-Vel, the original Mar-Vel, died from cancer. There was nothing they could do to save him.
But Kree died from cancer on Earth?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But he was resurrected with the Macran crystal. Do you know what that is?
Nope.
You don't know what the
Nope.
You don't remember that from the X-Men comics? So it's like this super powerful energy source. Like it has a gateway to like unlimited energy or something. And the Shi'ar tried using it against the Phoenix Force in that cartoon.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember that now.
So he was resurrected using that Macran crystal, but he ended up sacrificing himself to save the Kree and the planet they were on called Hala. And
Hala.
Like she was kind of devastated because she saw him again, and they kind of like rekindled their relationship, but then he died again. So she decided to take on his legacy and changed her name from Ms. Marvel to Captain Marvel.
And this happened in the 2000s?
Yeah, this was recent.
Early 2000s?
Yeah, this was like a couple years ago.
Okay.
Actually, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So now like she divides her time between space and Earth to protect the planet. She's definitely lived up to Marvel's namesake, and is like definitely a major leaguer in the Marvel universe, having played a big part in the in the Secret War and the recent Civil War II event. And she's getting her own movie now.
I remember when she first became Captain Marvel. I remember thinking like, good, that makes sense. Yeah. Like it makes sense for the character, because I remember for a long time
her
Captain
history
Marvel
is so tied into the original.
Yeah,
Captain
exactly. Marvel. It was Genisfell,
his son,
Marvel's son. Yeah,
clone. I think I can't remember. Clone son.
Anyway, like I thought it made sense, and the fact that it was a woman, I thought was a nice touch. Was pretty cool.
Yeah, because there was another woman who was named Captain Marvel, and I can't remember her real name, but she goes by Pulsar now. She went by Photon.
Oh, that's right. She's black.
Yeah, but I was like, just give that name to Carol. Like her history is tied in more closely to the original Captain Marvel, and her costume has always kind of played homage to his.
Right.
So I was really glad. I thought it was a great a great decision to make her Captain Marvel.
Yeah, totally.
So she's super strong. She's
Stronger than Superman?
No, she's about class 50, which means she could lift about 50 tons, but she can absorb energy. That's like her big thing. She can absorb energy to increase her strength above class 100. Like, actually, if she absorbs enough energy, she can transform back into her binary form again temporarily.
Oh, wow.
Where she's like super cosmic powered. She has super speed, super durability. She can fly. She shoots these powerful photon blasts.
That's like Quasar.
No, Quasar can create constructs. She can't create constructs.
I thought he shot photon, or is it
he has quantum
bands? Okay, yeah. Never mind.
And finally, she has what's called a seventh sense. It gives her flashes of precognition.
Well, what the hell is the sixth sense?
I don't know, man.
Seeing ghosts?
Spidey sense.
Wait, Sarah, what does the seventh sense do?
So it gives her flashes of precognition, so she can anticipate her opponent's moves.
This is always on?
So I mean, now it is.
It's like
it kind of waned
it's Spidey
for
sense.
a long time. Like she initially had it. Yeah, it's kind of like Spidey sense, basically. Spidey sense.
Oh, okay. All right, I guess.
But it's called seventh sense. I don't know. She also has extensive military training in armed and unarmed combat. So that's pretty much her.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Any surprises there?
I did forget to mention that Allura Inze, Supergirl's mother, she was not a scientist. She was a soldier. I believe she was like a law official. So I don't know if that means that Supergirl's.
Well, you said she was trained by the Amazons.
Yeah, she was. That's true.
And we all know the Amazons aren't as good at fighters as U.S. military Air Force training.
What the F?
So.
What are you talking about?
So.
That's not true at all.
All right. Okay, so let's break down the fight. So our fights never the environment is never a factor in our battles,
right? Because we don't record stats for environment, and it's just too big of a variable. Some characters will win in some environments, and other characters have advantages in others. So we don't make it a thing.
Yeah. So we're just assuming they're starting off at a medium distance from each other in a non-environment zone.
Neutral non-environment. Neutral non-environment.
There you go. So they're both super fast. How do you think this starts?
How fast is Captain Marvel?
I don't...
Because Supergirl's fast and Superman is fast, but like they definitely like need to like get close to the speed of light. They need to accelerate to that. For sure.
She's really fast. I mean, she travels through space, just on her own and everything.
But does that mean she travels like?
But she has to
faster than light speed.
It's
because then she's going to get nowhere fast.
That's a good question. Like, I know she's supersonic. Like she can go at orbital speeds, to get into space, and everything. I think when she was binary, she could get close to light speed, but like I've never seen her go like warp speed or anything like that. So she's on average slightly slower, I think, than Superman and Supergirl.
Good. Okay, so this fight starts off. I think because they're always on a distance, we usually have the fight start off with like ranged combat, right?
Right.
So it probably starts off.
I think Captain Marvel has the advantage when it comes to the ranged combat. Because her photon blasts are more powerful than Supergirl's heat vision. Is my assumption.
Okay.
Because her blasts are pretty big. She has some pretty good firepower.
Okay. Yeah.
And even if, so say it starts off ranged. I think so this is how it's gonna go. It's gonna start off ranged. Captain Marvel's gonna start off firing off her photon blasts. I think Supergirl will get hit by one. It's not going to affect her too much.
Right, she'll get knocked back.
She might dodge a few.
They're probably in space.
You want to say they're in space?
I hate saying the environment, but
okay.
Subtle space suggestion.
Okay, that's fine. So she might counter with her own blasts, her heat vision.
Yeah, so she gets knocked back, and then she's gonna as she's recovering, fire back with her heat vision. For sure.
So at which point she's gonna strengthen Carol Danvers up.
She can't just absorb energy. You're making it sound like she can never get hit by a laser, because then she just like automatically absorbs it.
That's how it works. She absorbs it. She can't. No, yeah,
That's stupid.
she could absorb energy, so she'll absorb the heat vision. Like she takes it, like it hits her, but like it doesn't hurt her. She draws it in to increase her own abilities.
Can she create force fields, or am I thinking of like Genisville?
She cannot create force fields. Okay. That was Genisville with the negabands.
Okay.
She doesn't have negabands.
Okay, I'm confusing Captain Marvel's here. Okay, so she can't create force. Okay, so while Kara's blasting her, she's gonna see that she's
that is not affecting her.
Not affecting her. So, but I imagine with that extra power,
but
Carol is gonna fire back.
Yeah. Well, with that extra power, it depends on how long it takes Supergirl to realize that she's powering up Captain Marvel. Like, is she just thinking that she's absorbing the energy and then will be able to redirect it, or will she be able to figure out that she's actually strengthening?
Well,
like, I don't think
she'll be able to realize that she's absorbing the energy before she realizes that it's actually strengthening her. If she ever realizes that in this match.
Like, I don't think she would power her up so much that she turns into binary form.
No,
because I think she would realize it far before that would happen.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
And I don't think Kara's the type of person who would go like an all-out, like all of her energy in one heat vision blast.
In the new 52 version, she is depicted as like much more like rage induced. Like she even received a red ring to become a Red Lantern.
Really?
Yeah, which is interesting because like usually like she's depicted as like naive and like kind of sweet, at least like in other versions. But the new 52 version, she was more like angered by the fact that like her planet was destroyed and stuff like that. Anyway, even that being said, she's definitely not going to power up Captain Marvel enough to become binary.
Okay, but enough so that Captain Marvel can actually do some serious damage, I think.
Yes. Okay. So Supergirl fires back. Captain Marvel absorbs it.
Yeah, and then she's probably like, haha.
Takes that energy and then redirects a more powerful blast.
No, I don't think she's going to turn into a blast. I think she's going to use that strength to plow right into Supergirl because she's already done the blast. She already has an idea that it doesn't hurt her quite as much so she might resort to physical stuff.
Okay. So
she plows into her.
They're hurtling into space.
And it's total chick fight at this point.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, technically it is. So
yeah, it's interesting because like our previous fight that had two females was Black Widow and Black Canary. Those two, like the fight it took place on the ground, and the fight, they're both heavily learned in the martial arts. So, but this is not like this won't be a heavy martial arts battle. This will be like a flying, punching, brawling type space fight. Yeah,
so Captain Marvel is like essentially like pushing Supergirl through space as she's plowing into her. So, but like eventually, when you're going through space, there's no I don't know what I'm thinking of.
Wind resistance.
After a while, your inertia keeps you moving, and you're just moving, kind of floating essentially. So Kara will grab Captain Marvel and then knock her back the other direction with her fist, which will really hurt, probably more.
Yeah, I definitely think Supergirl's punches will hurt Captain Marvel more than Captain Marvel's punches will hurt Supergirl.
Yeah.
So how does Captain Marvel win this fight? At that point, I think when she realizes
how strong she is,
and how she's stronger than her, how Supergirl is stronger than Captain Marvel, I think she's gonna realize that she's gonna have to do something else.
She needs to keep her distance.
She may realize that she has the advantage if she keeps her distance, because she has bigger firepower for one, and two, if Kara uses her firepower, it'll help her basically.
Yeah. So she fires back at Kara.
Yeah, probably a big blast.
But Kara knows it's coming, so she flies.
How does she know it's coming?
Because she knows that she could shoot energy now. And so as she sees her aim towards her, she flies away because she's faster than.
But this is a big blast. This is like This is not just like a tiny beam. This is a.
It's also big space.
Whites.
And Supergirl is really fast.
Nah, I still see her getting hit with it.
Even if she does, she charges back really fast. Faster than Kara can, Captain Marvel can. I'm getting Carol and Kara mixed up. Captain Marvel can react to and just slams her.
But not faster because she has the precog. It's the seventh sense thing going, knows it's coming, jumps out of the way. Supergirl flies into the sun and dies.
No, that makes her stronger.
Oh, it's a red sun, though. You didn't know that.
No, that's stupid.
It's a red sun.
That's what no environment thinks. Right, okay.
Right.
So Captain Marvel senses that Supergirl is coming after her and moves out of the way. So then Kara turns around and uses her ice breath.
It's not going to do anything to Carol. They're out in the deep freeze of space, for one.
That's true.
Two, she could easily melt the ice. Cryo breath is not going to play a factor into this.
That's true, okay. So then she just slams Captain Marvel again, just speeding into her.
This is why Captain Marvel hits her with her white blast. This is the blast bigger than she's thrown at her previously.
Does Captain Marvel have unlimited energy? I mean, if she could absorb it and stockpile it, does that mean she could also be depleted of it?
Well, Rogue was able to deplete her of all her energy, but I've never seen her blast so much that all of a sudden she runs out of fuel, kind of thing. Uh-huh. It doesn't really work that way. So no.
Okay. Well, then this is just a battle of Captain Marvel trying to hit Supergirl, and Supergirl just trying to plow into Captain Marvel and not getting her precog sense in the way.
Captain Marvel can use her precognition to make sure that she hits Supergirl. She knows where she's gonna dodge, so she's already there with her blast.
But eventually, Supergirl can just take the punch, take the energy blast.
She can't take it indefinitely,
and then use her own
heat vision to power her up.
No, not to power up, but they're canceling each other out.
Then Captain Marvel will just stop firing and let the heat vision hit her.
Okay, all right, okay. You know what? You brought this to extremes. Okay. So Captain Marvel keeps blasting Supergirl, and Supergirl gets all pissed off.
And then Supergirl gets so pissed off that she shoots out a big, huge laser, and she absorbs all of it.
No, then Supergirl gets... Oh, well, shit. I was going to say she super flares, but that wouldn't be good, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
Is it super flare or solar flare? I forget what it's called.
It's super flare, but
it's
it would
the
leave her in a
ultimate
super
weapon.
weakened state.
Yeah, it would deplete her of her powers.
Yeah.
So she's not going to do that.
That's the worst thing that she could do.
Yeah, I know.
Eventually, we know that Supergirl's going to get super pissed off, though. Does that mean she makes a mistake? Does that when Captain Marvel reaches in and snaps her neck?
No, because Captain Marvel's not strong enough to snap Supergirl's neck.
Pretty sure she is.
No, she's not.
Pretty sure she is.
Supergirl is Kryptonian.
It doesn't mean her neck is still snappable. That's like saying, so if you were going up against like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, if you're not nearly as strong as.
That's like saying Doomsday could snap Superman's neck. He couldn't.
He could snap.
They're
Superman's
super
neck.
durable. No, he couldn't.
Durability has nothing to do with it. It has to do with.
He's not strong enough to
leverage.
Snap her neck. She could just keep her neck stiff. It's not going to get snapped.
No, but if she doesn't, by that rationale, no one's neck would ever get snapped, because they could just stiffen their neck and say no.
Well, if you're strong enough, if a baby tried to snap, the Hulk's neck, it's not going to happen because he's strong.
But
enough
if you tried to snap the Rock's neck, you would be able to do it if he wasn't clenching.
No, but Supergirl's strength level far surpasses Captain Marvel's.
Not by that much.
50 tons?
Especially when she's been absorbing energy.
But she hasn't been absorbing that much energy.
She absorbed enough of energy to at least get to class 100.
No, she didn't.
Pretty sure she did.
I don't think she did at all.
Pretty sure she
Supergirl knows that that's not hurting her, so she's not stupid.
Or is she?
No, she's not.
Or is she? Okay.
She's not.
So eventually, Captain Marvel snaps Supergirl's neck because Supergirl's so she gets all pissed off and she makes a mistake.
Supergirl
and then Captain Marvel uses her military skills to get her in like one of those cool MMA holds
in space.
No,
not gonna work. Here's the thing: Supergirl has died from being blasted with energy, but this was like universe-destroying energy. Captain Marvel just doesn't have the firepower or the strength to defeat Supergirl.
But she has the senses to avoid the physical attacks from Supergirl, and enough strength and enough speed to hold her own. And Supergirl can't use any of her projectiles, cryo breath, or heat vision. So
it's a fisticuffs match.
So what happens?
Or Supergirl wants it to be.
Captain Marvel won't let it be a fisticuffs match. She'll keep her distance because she knows that's how she has
She's
the
not
advantage.
faster than Supergirl. How is she going to keep her distance?
By running and using her seventh sense.
That's like an ant trying to keep its distance from me.
I told you she's about as fast. They're like suborbital speed. They can't reach light speed. She can't reach light speed. She's not that much faster.
The Kryptonians could accelerate to almost light speed.
So can Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying they're the same speed?
So what I'm saying is that
that's the case.
Between her seventh sense and her speed,
Captain Marvel, does she move like Superman with his super speed? I don't think she does.
What do you mean?
Superman like moves like really fast when he's fighting.
You mean okay?
Does Captain Marvel move that fast? Is she like Feora in Man of Steel?
Yes, she is.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think so. I don't.
Yeah,
for some reason, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, she's exactly Feora in Man of Steel.
When the Captain Marvel movie comes out, and I don't see her moving like that, I'm gonna be like, this is bullshit. I mean, she could fly fast, but I don't think like she moves fast. That's the impression that I get. Not like Superman. Not like Supergirl.
I mean, she can accelerate to fast speed. She can move fast. Not as fast as the speeds that she accelerates to. But anyway, I feel like this isn't going anywhere. I think we need to go to the stats.
All right. Yeah. See, and that's why I like our version, because any fight could end up in a stalemate. But let's run 1,000 matches and see where this ends up.
All right, let's do it.
That is the sound of Captain Marvel's energy blast just bounce ricocheting right off of Supergirl's bosom.
I was going to say something, but now I won't. Okay. All right. So we compiled all the stats and ran 1,000 simulations using the Monte Carlo method. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it. So basically, it puts runs the stats among standard deviation, and then plots them, and then compares the outcomes.
And now we don't need to Google it.
So anyway, let's see. I don't know how to do this except to just get right into it. How are you feeling? Like I will say
I'm feeling good. I mean, they're both kind of like, I think it's a good match. I think it was a good fight.
Yeah, it was better than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I was a little hesitant just because I know that it kind of seems like Captain Marvel is just like a lesser version of Supergirl, kind of. Like, she does all the same things, but at a smaller scale. But that's not actually true. I was pleasantly surprised when we were putting in the stats that in the areas that Supergirl is weak, Captain Marvel is strong, such as like intelligence. Now, it's not to say that Supergirl is a dummy. She's obviously not.
Yeah.
She can occasionally be naive. Captain Marvel is the definition of not naive.
Yeah.
So there were a few things that kind of like, they balanced the scales a little bit. So it actually ended up being closer than I thought it would.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to get into the results, man. You want to hear them?
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Yes, yeah.
Here they are. So, the winner of the Supergirl Captain Marvel fight is Captain Marvel.
What?
She won 547 out of the 1,000 matches.
547, that's 54%?
54.7% of the matches.
How?
So
I guess,
Supergirl is stronger and faster.
yeah.
But Captain Marvel came in through big time with her intelligence, her psychic input.
Strategic intelligence.
Her psychic input, and her projectile damage. She's able to kind of keep Supergirl
yeah.
at bay
Yeah.
better, and she's not as fast or strong, but she's only slightly less so, I guess.
This is bullshit.
It kind of reminds me of the whole Submariner Aquaman fight that we had, where I was like totally sure that the Submariner was going to win because he's stronger, But it turns out that Aquaman had a lot going for him, such as the fish speak and the trident and
This is also like
other things.
The Superman,
The intelligence.
Superman Dr. Doom fight. I mean,
Yeah.
Superman's stronger and faster. What the F? Strength and speed. That's what it is to be a superhero. That's
Not in all cases. There's other factors at play when it comes into a battle, and I mean that's not to say that Supergirl didn't do her fair share of kicking ass. It's fairly close to even. 54.7% of the wins is pretty close to even, but it's just enough to claim this victory.
I don't even know what to think. Well, I guess if Batman could beat Superman, I guess intelligence. And that was the biggest differing stat, right? Was strategic intelligence between the two?
Yes.
Because everything else, I think it was pretty close. I imagine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Supergirl is a lot stronger. We accounted for that. We did say that the gap that exists between their strength levels did not quite exist between their speed levels. Captain Marvel is almost as fast.
Yeah,
She's closer to being as fast as Supergirl than as being as strong as Supergirl. She's not nearly as strong as Supergirl.
That sucks. We shouldn't have said space because then you were like, "Oh, freeze breath doesn't work in space."
It wouldn't work anywhere. She would just melt it off.
That's true, but I guess the stats.
Yeah, we said they were about equal in fighting skill, even though I still think that Captain Marvel is a better fighter, but you said that, this version of Supergirl has had Amazonian training and everything like that. So I got to respect that.
She's definitely, had some training.
So right. Yeah, that's it, man.
That sucks.
Now you know how I feel.
This episode sucks.
Now you know how I feel with Aquaman and Submariner. Revenge. All right.
Do we know what the record is? Are we still counting?
So we tied when Green Goblin beat Joker. I think Marvel's up by 1 now. I don't remember the overall record.
Did we tie? I thought that set us up. We tied on the episode before that, I thought.
I have no idea. I don't remember. I don't really keep track anymore because it doesn't matter.
Good.
But that does it for this episode, or this Battlecast rather. Again, guys, if you have anything to comment about that, go ahead and let us know. If you think it would have gone the other way, let us know why you think so. If you want to reaffirm the data, go ahead and let us know.
You realize my daughter is going to be heartbroken over this. You made Grace cry.
That's her fault for liking the wrong comics company.
Nope. You don't allow Marvel in my house.
So, reach out to us via email at dcmarvelbattlecast@gmail.com or on Twitter @dcmarvelbattle, or, of course, on SoundCloud. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Spotify. If you're listening to us on whatever app that you are listening to us on, whether it be Stitcher or TuneIn or iTunes or Player FM, I think that's one of them. Go ahead and if you have the ability, give us a rate and review.
Yeah.
Please. If you like us.
Please.
If you don't like us, don't even bother. Don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time. Yeah, again, getting to the end of this podcast episode.
So, that does it for this episode. And next week's episode, we will likely be reviewing Ant-Man.
Yeah, we should probably get a guest for that.
Yeah, we'll hopefully line up a guest. If not, then we don't.
If we don't, then it'll be Jonathan's hand sock puppet, Mr. Snickles.
Oh my god.
This is a guest episode with
I'm going to cut
Mr.
that out.
Snickles.
I'm going to save you the embarrassment of your daughter, future generations, and then cut that part out. All right.
She knows Mr. Snickles.
All right. Anyway, we will see you guys again in 2 weeks. And until then,
Up and away.
true believers.